Hello there, I'm Katherine Hannah. Paul Ogden, our Huddersfield Town commentator, here alongside me to preview Town's match. They travel to Wigan Athletic this weekend. Now, Town haven't won away from home since beating Wolves back in October. Wigan, however, haven't won at home since August. So can Huddersfield Town build on last Saturday's good performance against Middlesbrough and take all 3 points? Oggy, team news first of all. Good news, it looks like Harry Bunn and Murray Wallace are going to be available again, which is a good thing for Chris Powell.
It is, because he's going to need some attacking options of some kind, given the fact that James Vaughan is going to be out for a while. We don't know exactly how long for, but I can see a 4-5-1, or you might call it a 4-3-3 formation if he goes with Bunn and Scannell again in support of Nahki Wells. Life is often not quite that simple anyway for Chris Powell, but you would hope that he would take the initiative, even in the absence of James Vaughan, because Wigan have struggled. They've got several players who clearly want to leave, Maloney, McManaman, and if the money's right, between now and Saturday at 3 o'clock, they might have gone already. But even in the absence of James Vaughan, I think Town have got reason to hope, because they did play quite well at Middlesbrough, even in a 2-0 defeat.
Other bits of team news, Jonathan Hogg remains an injury doubt. He came off at half-time last weekend. But there is the new arrival of David Edgar, who very versatile. Chris Powell said that he could see him in either of the central positions, either central defence or as a central defensive midfielder. So if Hogg isn't fit, possibly a debut for him. Quite possibly.
I think it also shows us, Catherine, just how concerned still Chris Powell is about relatively frail defensive parts. I think he's worried about what would happen if Jonathan Hogg continues to pick up these little injuries. He needs a stopper, and that's definitely what David Edgar is. Whether or not you select him in defence or as a defensive midfielder, he's quite experienced as well. So he's a quite welcome addition to the squad, even if for me, honestly, it was a quite surprising one, because I thought the urgency was at the front end of the team. It probably still is. But what it also tells us, the arrival of David Edgar, is the fact that I think we can assume that if they get their way, Lee Peltier and Anthony Gerrard will probably be playing for different clubs quite soon.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, Huddersfield Town fans, depending on when you are watching and listening to this, then things might have changed a pace with the January transfer window being what it is. Lee Peltier, we expect to go to Cardiff. They're certainly very interested. Anthony Gerrard has been told and had the conversation with Chris Powell that if someone else comes in, then he's able to go elsewhere. Strikers, that's where everybody's waiting for news. As I say, 3 o'clock Saturday, they might have got a couple, but it doesn't seem imminent right now. How much of a worry is that?
Worry, that's an interesting way to put it, because clearly you know that at some point during any game, Huddersfield Town might well run out of steam in the striking department. It's a very big responsibility for poor Nahki Wells to take on individually. But there are other parts of the team that still need fixing. Defence, for example. Nobody's perfect, and Huddersfield Town certainly aren't the weakest team in any department in the division, but they're 17th in the table for a reason, and even against struggling Wigan, they've got to make sure they defend properly. I think, quite apart from the fact that Huddersfield Town, led by Ross Wilson, the head of football, are always at it in the marketplace, whether or not the transfer window is open or closed. There will be a striker option that becomes available eventually. We might have to wait until the open of the loan transfer window, because I don't think they've got a massive budget for a striker, and the good strikers that everybody wants are all going for a couple of million minimum at the moment. Everybody wants a good striker, and Huddersfield Town's happens to be more urgent than most because of James Vaughan's nasty injury.
Me and Chris Powell did discuss the option of either me going up front or him going up front. Neither of these options will be happening. You can rest assured of that. Just a quick note on Wigan. You mentioned briefly their personnel is changing a lot as well. Sean Maloney, it looks as though he's going to the MLS. Ben Watson, their FA Cup winning hero, to Watford. Callum McManaman being courted by West Brom at the moment. They've not won at home since August, second bottom of the league. There's a lot for them to contend with, but you can never take a team in that predicament for granted, can you?
No, not least because, as we've agreed many times already this season, there's no logic in the pattern of performances of teams in the Championship in any case. Wigan have got the talent to produce a draw against Blackburn Rovers, which they did last week, and that's all Huddersfield Town managed. Last time they played Blackburn, 0-0 up at Ewood Park last year. So if you go in expecting to beat Wigan and take them lightly, you will probably get your fingers burnt. They have got their own recruitment agenda, and they're evolving their own squad, Wigan, at the moment under Malky Mackay. They brought Ridgewell in, also from American football, although he's very experienced in domestic football here. Wigan, I think, are going to be a fairly standard team. whose weaknesses are maybe deeper than many others, and that's why they're 23rd in the table. But Huddersfield Town can be optimistic tomorrow if they do their jobs properly.
Let's hope so anyway. You won't miss a thing. As always, you can join me, Katherine Hannah, Paul Ogden, Kieran O'Regan, dedicated Huddersfield Town build-up and then full commentary. We're on the air from 2 o'clock on BBC Radio Leeds. Make sure you're on the right frequency, FM frequencies, Huddersfield Town fans this weekend. So 92.4 FM, 103.9 FM. Join us from 2 on West Yorkshire Sport.